This is Rooted Cosmic Soul, Season 2 of Broom Closet Recordings, Healing the Patriarchy-within, in the here and the there, offering rememberings in times of chaos, confusion, love, and belonging. I am Diedra, your sometimes reluctant but always growing guide. In this season, I'll be sharing channeled and conjured episodes related to healing the patriarchy within. There's a link in the description to the digital book titled the same. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like. This will help me grow the channel and therefore grow my ability to continue these offerings with dedicated focus. I deeply appreciate you being here.
Hey y'all, June is well on its way, and here in the United States we just had a really interesting, compelling, curiosity-filled weekend about where the paradigm is going and what's happening. And all of it had me thinking about a particular aspect of healing the patriarchy within that is about seeing, sensing, and shifting into an authentic, balanced human, right? So this idea that one is not, in healing the patriarchy within, one is not seeking to spiritually bypass and be all about love, joy, light, and stay away from the shadow or see the shadow as dark, evil, bad. Instead, the authentic balanced human is understanding that to be human is to hold all of these energies, to hold light and shadow, to hold energies of action and of being, of rational thought and emotions, of action and of inaction. And what does it mean to seek to be in balance? And I think particularly in this moment in human history that we're experiencing, in which it feels so unbalanced and so chaotic, while many of us are on a spiritual awakening, and within, at least in my experience and some of the folks that I'm being brought into contact with, that even within those moments that one might call dark night of the soul, right, or turmoil around how to be one's balanced self in a chaotic world, and the difficulty in that in those ebbs and flow of being, there are moments of joy, of laughter, of seeing, after experiencing that dark night of the soul of turmoil, having similar experiences on the other side, but experiencing them differently, being able to see them in a different light, holding gratitude differently for the lesson and the learning. And so I've been thinking about this idea of balance in terms of spiritual shape-shifting. And I'm being specific around spiritual shape-shifting because remember, I'm a writer, so trust in Fantasyland. Shape-shifting is a wonderful and amazing thing, and I'm all about lesbian fiction in which shapeshifters exist. but in this realm where that's the fiction, I hope that there is a realm in which their fiction is our world, in which it doesn't exist. But in this realm in which, in my experience, the shape-shifting is a spiritual aspect, I wanted to talk about it in terms of how that can help to find balance. Because in spiritual shape-shifting, when I say that, I'm talking about spiritual shape-shifting is an intentional engagement, and it also requires a level of self-awareness and mindfulness, right? Like, one needs to have enough connection with their emotions to be able to name the emotion they're in and the emotion they want to move into, they want to shift into, and the mindfulness and the intention that that's what one is doing. This energetic shift is part of the healing process. It's part of growth and personal growth, emotional intelligence, of being able to name and see what's happening and determine, do I want to be in this emotion while not letting the emotion bury me or define me or determine me? That's that shape-shifting energy of being able to see it and with intention and power within, determine what to do with it. So, sometimes I know that I've escaped enough. I need to sit I need to go sit with myself, with my ancestors, with my spirits, and with my beautiful, deep shadows, and ask, what do you need? Right? What's happening that this emotion is arriving? Oftentimes it's, I'm seeking balance but oftentimes I'm sitting when it's a real intense emotion, rage, grief, sadness. My balance is learning that if I'm having a real intense emotion, that is joy, love, compassion, to step into that as well, right? And to ask myself, what about this is creating that, so that I have the ability to shift into it if and when I want to. And so that's what's been on my mind, this idea of like shape-shifting, spiritual shape-shifting, how to be the master of this embodiment, of this energy, of this spiritual self of the spiritual self having an embodied experience. And like I said, this has been on my mind for quite a few days now. I actually was thinking about it before the weekend, and I actually think my guides were starting to drop the idea in, and then the weekend happened, and I've been sitting with it. This morning in my in my silent time, the Divine Feminine was so amazing and so beautiful, and gave me this idea around looking at it in terms of the balance between Kali Ma and Gauri Devi. And so I'm not going to go into those two goddess archetypes or energies. I think you can look them up on your own, but they're, they are the balance of each other, and this idea of being able to know when one can shift, can be in compassion, grace, allowance, surrender, and when one needs to set up really clear boundaries, and sometimes fiercely so. And being able to flow between the two, because they balance each other out. They flow in and out of the other, and that as we heal the patriarchy within, that understanding, that ability can drop in and support us in living that type of energetic experience. And that energetic experience then also creates an embodied experience, because being able to shift with clarity, with self-awareness, with mindfulness, can help regulate the nervous system, can help when being in a world that we're in right now where everything just feels compressed and squeezed. I'm also finding it really helpful to remember these things when I'm with other humans that I really love and who are struggling, right? And so to not, I'm learning that I don't always have to separate myself from them, because I was I was so much of an empath. I didn't understand these concepts of balance and my power and my ability to shapeshift. And so I would have to distance myself from people. And I don't always want to do that, but I also want to be able to take care of me. And so learning spiritual shapeshifting and how that can work allows me to share space as an empath with people who might be struggling, but not take on their struggle. Just be present, I'm learning there's such power for others in bearing witness. There's no power over. I don't have to fix it. It's not my job to fix it. Often they don't want me to fix it, and I don't have to take that on. For folks who have my book, Healing the Patriarchy-within, there are two goddesses in that book, Freya on page 41 and Pele on page 111. Both of them have very strong shape shifter energy. And it's really beautiful because they're from two very different cultures. Go ahead and check that out. If this idea of shape-shifting is something that is intriguing you, you want to lean a little bit more into, you want some specific divine feminine energy to read about within my book, check that out. I pulled 3 cards from my Transmuting the Eye deck. And the first one that came up was a mind card. So it's a masculine energy. So it's saying lean into sacred masculine energy in terms of create conscious choices, right? So claim your I, make you a creation of your own. So part of that balance is like, depending on the identities we've been given by the construct, aspects of our identity, aspects of our being, race, gender, sex, religion, geography, all that kind of stuff, we might have limited our access to different ways we can shapeshift. So part of this healing the patriarchy within is start to expand that understanding of what is accessible to you and the choices available to you for you to define who you are and what you get to shapeshift into and out of. The second one that came up was a heart card, and this is the order they came up, which is the sacred feminine, and that was to connect with nature to enhance your intuitive guidance. So also, again, as beings that were healing from the patriarchy, is like the patriarchy did a lot of great work in separating us from our intuitive, authentic self, our core self, our heart core. And so the more we can connect with that aspect, the more we'll have clarity of like what we even want to shift into, right? And that what we're seeking to shift into is of our own design, not the construct. And spending more time with nature is going to help and enhance that. And then lastly, the third was another heart card, divine feminine, and that was cultivate heart-led action. So what I get from that is like the more we can keep coming back to the idea of when I step forward, when I make an action, take an action, and shapeshifting is actionary, right? Where I'm even if it's just metaphorical or in energy, you're still taking action. And so the idea is let it cultivate all of that from the heart. Like let it be heart-led action time and time again. And so maybe in the beginning, if you're first just starting to shapeshift or you're deepening your ability to spiritually shapeshift, really hone into heart-led action. For folks who, and it's really beautiful. So I actually pulled some other basic oracle cards before I pulled my my oracle cards that are specific around offering insight, self inquiry, self awareness, ways to deepen your self awareness. And the stone that showed up was beryl. And it's really beautiful because it's a really strong heart-centered stone. And so definitely lean into beryl for that, connecting with nature, connecting with your heart-led actions, and connecting with the divine feminine in general from the heart. The plant that arrived that wanted to hang out with us is oak tree. It's not a plant. Well, I guess it is a plant. Trees considered plants? I don't know, I'm not a botanist. But oak is really, really, really powerful. And it's really interesting that oak wanted to show up now because, we're coming into summer solstice, and the idea is that oak is here, and then oak believes in balance, and oak then makes space for holly to come in at summer solstice. And then holly is sort of like reigning and using its energy to teach us, to hold us until winter comes around again. But the beautiful thing about oak, to lean into oak, is because what oak will do is oak will help you see where to like plant strong roots, right? That's the boundaries. Even when we're shape shifting, even when we're going, we're moving in Kali Ma and moving into Wahi Devi, right? Going back and forth between surrendering a bit versus staunch, fierce boundaries. So because oak will also oak can also help you bend a little bit. and you can lean into the leaves and the fact that there's so much wisdom coming from the oak with all the acorns that allow elemental energy, elemental winds and air to shift and move it so that it doesn't break. It just helps it release the acorn so that there's more oak. So you can lean into the oak for that. I also pulled a card from one of my favorite decks called Magic Spirit Oracle. And that came up with an interesting message around this idea of the red rose and really trusting yourself and trusting that you have the ability to, like through the rose, you have the insight, you have the intuition growing within you to find your way. And so as you are leaning into this idea of shape-shifting, it might feel new, it might feel weird, might feel like, what is happening here? I don't really know what I'm doing. On the heart level, I think that's why my oracle gave us the cards to really go into the heart. Let it be heart-led action. You do know, right? The patriarchy is just covering it up, right? And as we heal it, it'll become more clear. And so some of this is just trust that, trust and don't worry. The card says, don't worry, darling. You'll find your way, right? Now, another card that came in, I don't know who this is for. I'm going to be really transparent. I'm not really sure why this came in, but the order in which I pulled the cards, it descended 20, oak was 19, and the red rose was 18. I don't know if that means something for someone who's watching this. And also the 20 card from the psychic reading cards was a card called Loved Ones in Spirit. And it's actually about if someone has recently lost someone. Okay, now I'm getting more information. So someone watching this, your emotions might be all over the place, and there might be some difficulty in even holding this idea of shape shifting. And so this, I think, card arrives for you to at least be offered the idea that you're not alone. That that loss and the prayers and the conversations you've been having around that loss, they are being heard, and they are with you and around you. And I think that might be reason it probably came in at 20 is that's like the overwhelming feeling right now. And so the offering is to lean into oak, which moves us down. Like, so you're at 20, maybe step back a little bit and see if you can spend some time in nature. If where you are, there's oak trees, maybe sit underneath an oak tree for a little bit and feel the emotions that you're feeling, right? And again, know that you can shapeshift, that you can move in and out of different emotions depending on what you need in the moment. And then as you do that, just remember, don't worry, darling, you're going to find your way. Right, you might be deep in loss at the moment, but don't worry, you're going to find your way. And it's also interesting that Beryl came in, because Beryl came in before Loved Ones in Spirit. And again, it's a heart-based stone. So if you do have access to Beryl and you are experiencing deep loss and grief at the heart, you might want to see if you can access that, be with it, keep it on your body. Remember that you can access these things you can access oak, you can access beryl, any stone, any plant, any herb. You can access it without actually touching it in the 3D. Remember, we are spirit having an embodied experience. Everything around us is first and foremost, it gets formed from energy, from spirit. It would not be here otherwise. And so you can access it. If you're very movement oriented, maybe you access through movement, right? Dance, walk, run, think about the plant, the stone, whatever that you want to connect with. If words are your thing, research it, journal about it. Whatever is your thing, access it from that true, authentic I, and the rest will come in. All right, lovelies. I hope that this was helpful. Sending so much compassion, grace, and love out in the world. And again, if you are one or ones who are experiencing deep grief right now from the heart space, I am sending so much love to you in particular and to all of us. Yeah. Take care of yourselves out there.
Rooted Cosmic Soul, Season 2, Healing the Patriarchy-within, a Broom Closet recording, offered with infinite love and gratitude. Thank you for watching, listening, co-creating the energy necessary for this time and space to exist. My energy stays here, your energy stays there. Return when your spirit moves you to do so. Same Bruja time, same Bruja channel. Hey there. If you liked this content, please check out my new book called Healing the Patriarchy-within. It's a detailed process guide designed to help folks find, explore, understand the definitions, beliefs, and behaviors that are inside of us as individuals, because some of them are the same between us and some of them are different. But those definitions, beliefs, and behaviors that are complicit with, that uphold the patriarchy. And it's a process guide to help see, sense, and shift those with a lot of compassion, grace, and love. Having patriarchy within doesn't matter about your gender, your class, your race. It's in all of us because of the wide existence of the patriarchy globally and for multiple millennia. And this process guide offers 22 very specific interweaving intersectional journeys to explore that from your eye, sprinkled with 24 different sacred feminine goddesses, energies, guides to support you as you're healing the patriarchy within, and then more than 44 different individual prompts, portals, activations, activities to further deepen your understanding of where the eye is and how to engage in a healing process. So please check that out if you are so inclined. There's a link in the description, always in all my videos, and also you can go directly to my website, diedrabarber.com. Thanks again. Also consider subscribing, liking, sharing whenever you find content on my channel that you've enjoyed. It's a beautiful way to support creators of free content and to help build my channel and get me out of the hidden realms of YouTube, because my content is that which is not meant to be brought to light, but you can help be one of those who help shine light on it. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. Unfettered and infinite love and gratitude.